Okay, my friends, start out on your back. So come on down, spread your shoulder blades out on the floor. And I like to give the two shoulder blades a really good tuck underneath the rib cage. So tuck them under there. You feel your chest get nice and big. And then from there, you can flip your palms up with some externally rotated shoulders. And that'll help open up that chest even more. And we'll just take a moment to lie here and breathe really deeply. So please get comfortable and take your time to kind of fidget into place. Right? Maybe a little bend in your knees will help release your low back toward the floor. So you can try that out. Once you get comfortable, close those eyes down. And find a really big, expansive breath that puffs open your chest and your rib cage. Even your belly puffs open with that inhale. With your exhale, pull your belly button into your spine. Pull the ribs inward, compressing all that air out. And while we're breathing here, you might enjoy really connecting to the movement of your breath by putting one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. And see if you could notice the two hands rising and falling at the same rate. Allow the breath to get as long as you can make it, taking in your maximum inhale, maybe even pausing at the top of that maximum inhale. And at the bottom of your exhale, see if you could just squeeze out a little bit more air. Take all the air out of your lungs and maybe pause there. And let's take a little more time. Hopefully you notice your body relaxing. Any tension melting out of your hips and shoulders. And do your best to keep this really full breath through your nose. Notice if there's any tension in your jaw and your face. We tend to hold some stuff in there, so soften up your forehead and your jaw. Take a few more breaths here, just scanning your body. Do a head to toe scan. Noticing the places that feel strong and great and open, as well as the places that feel like they might be a little bit tense. Take a moment here before we begin to move to watch your thoughts too. And notice the vacillations of your beautiful mind reaching into the past, into the future. And just observe the mind doing its thing without trying to control it. Just take a step back from the thoughts. Observe without getting caught up. All right, friends, as you're ready, reach your hands way out overhead. Stretch your legs out too, so make yourself as long as you can be. Okay, it should feel good to take a nice long stretch. And then keep yourself long, keep that reaching feeling. And let's see if we can make a side bend out of this. So what if we reached a little bit more through the left hand and foot? Okay, lengthening more through the left side and then contracting a little bit in the right. So bring a little bit of strength into your right side body, your obliques, okay? So you're kind of squinching the right side as you lengthen the left. Your hands and feet will start to point out to the right. Now let's hold here and take some time. Getting a really big side stretch. So hopefully you feel that left side getting more spacious. Okay, if this is feeling pretty good and you want to deepen it a little bit, you can pick up that left foot and stack the left ankle on top of the right. Okay, with your right hand, you can hold your left wrist and move it a little further to the right. Okay, deepening that curve. So I call this banana pose. And in banana pose, remember that your shoulders and your glutes are still on the floor, so they have not come up. And do your best to keep a long neck. If you notice your shoulders smooshing up by your ears, move them down away. All right, we'll bring this banana pose to the other side. So come on back through center. Okay, all hands and feet stretching out equally. And now let's reach out a little more through the right hand and foot. So we're lengthening the right side. We're using the left obliques, the left side strength to squinch a little bit in the left side. And now we've got a banana shape that curves over to the left. So once you've gotten settled in and you like that right side stretch, you can deepen it by picking up the right ankle and stacking it over the left. Grabbing the right wrist with your left hand, move it over to the left. And remember to ground yourself as best you can. Big breath in. All right, friends. As you're ready, come on back through center. Okay, and keeping this really long shape, just start to bring in a little bit of core engagement. So wrap your belly button inward as if you're trying to pull it down toward the floor. And so your thought is that you want to get your low back as close to the floor as you can. And you can even put your hand on your belly here and feel that your abs are engaging because of that action. Okay, you're engaging your core. Can you keep this core engagement, keeping that low back close to the floor? And we're going to get a little bit more active here. So we're lifting the left leg up. Lift that right arm too. See if you could tap your left knee or shin, or maybe even reach towards your foot. And then we're going to bring them back to the floor with control. Let's do the other side. Left arm, right leg. Tap that leg and bring them back to the floor. So let's bring in the breath along with that. Exhale, left leg, right arm, come up. Inhale to bring it back. Exhale, left arm, right leg. Inhale to bring it back. So let's go like this, just like this, side to side, a few more times. If you like this gentle movement and you're keeping your practice really gentle today, then just keep your body super grounded when it's down, okay? So when you come down, you're grounding your hand and feet. If you want a little extra challenge, especially in your core, you have the option to lift your head and shoulders, okay? So you're hovering the head and shoulders up off the mat. Or you can also hover your legs so that the only thing touching the mat is your back, okay? And that will help keep your low back grounded as well. So let's take maybe 3 more side to side. And exhale. Maybe reach a little higher on the leg. Exhale. One more. All right, very nice. Next time you come out long. If you were hovering your body up off the floor, relax it all the way down. Okay, bring your knees in. Give yourself a nice hug by grabbing onto your knees and squeezing them towards your chest. And then if you want to rock a little bit on the floor, kind of rolling your low back out on the mat, that'll probably feel pretty good. Okay, roll around on your sacrum, your glutes, and massage all that tissue out. And then from here, you have one hand in each knee. You can circle your knees out, bringing some movement into your hip joints. Okay, make sure that whatever direction you do first, you rewind a few times. Notice how those hips feel today. Okay, friends, once your knees are back together, tuck your hands all the way behind your knees and we'll rock it up. Okay, rock it on up to a seat. Okay, from here, point your knees out to one side and we'll come over to hands and knees. So I'll meet you there. Okay, let's combine a wrist stretch here with some nice spinal mobility. So flip your palms up so your fingers point back at you. And you could just try one at first. And if it's really tender, then just do one at a time and just switch sides. But if it's not super tender and you can handle it, just do 2 at a time. It's really up to you. So nice wrist stretch for us. We're gonna keep the elbows engaging inward. We're gonna keep the belly button lifting strong toward the spine. So you remember keeping that core strong. So with your inhale, pull back on your hands like you're trying to pull your heart forward between your arms. Lift your big heart up forward. With your exhale, push the floor away, rounding your spine. Maybe shake your head. And we'll take several more rounds like that. Inhaling to pull your big heart forward. And exhaling, push the floor. Okay, keep it going. Make this really fluid and maybe even just close your eyes here. Keep your belly button strong into your spine as you extend and flex it. Extend and flex that spine. And then let's make this not only a front and back movement, right? Let's make it also a side to side movement. So maybe experiment with making a jump rope movement out of your spine, okay? Going side to side a little bit. See if you could find any little spots in your ribs or behind your shoulders that might need a little extra stretching. And then next time you pull your heart forward into a cow posture, let's hold right here for a few breaths. So you have a long neck. You're pulling back on your hands. Big heart moving forward, belly button pulling up. Feel the strength in your back, okay? Those shoulder blades moving down towards your hips. Maybe one more big breath in right here. And then with your exhale, push the floor. You're coming into a cat posture here. Rounded spine, head hanging. Hold right here. Okay, really push the floor. Breathe into the back of your rib cage, your shoulders, the back of your neck. Spread all that open. The bigger your breath, the more space you can open up, okay? Maybe one more breath here. And let that go. Okay. Whew. Untuck your hands out from under you. That was a really powerful rest stretch, so feel free to kind of move them around a little bit. So from your hands and knees, now that we've warmed up your torso a little bit more, let's get a little bit more twisty, just massaging the whole spinal column and all the muscles of your torso. So coming up with your right hand, okay? Inhale here, reach that right hand way up high. So up to the ceiling, think of spreading open your chest to the max. And with your exhale, dive that right arm under your left. So think of reaching as far as you can. Try to set your right shoulder down close to your left hand. And you can even maybe look up at the ceiling, getting a little twist in your neck. We're going to come back up, okay? So inhaling, push the floor down with that left hand. Reach high with your right. Want maximum wingspan here. Then exhale, dive it under. Drop your right shoulder by your left hand. Again, big breath in, reach it up. And big exhale, dive under. Okay, now I want to stay right here for a few breaths. So make sure your spine is nice and long. Maybe you even walk your knees back if your spine feels crunched. And with your right shoulder next to your left hand, you can stay right here, especially if you're getting enough twist in your spine. If it feels good, however, and you want more, you can use your left fingers to reach up and start to really peel open your chest. So like you're opening your arms wide, your right hand pressing against the floor, like you're trying to give someone a hug. Nice breath. So we want the tailbone moving away from the top of the head here. And as you breathe, if you're feeling good and everything's going well, maybe see about reaching that left hand behind your back. And if you can find your right thigh, see if you can grab onto your right thigh. Maybe deepen that twist for a breath or two. Big chest breath, big belly exhales. All right, yogis, as you're ready, bring that left hand back to the floor and we'll come back out the way we came in. Big breath in, right hand reaching up, unroll your spine. And exhale, right hand down. We'll just switch sides now. We'll do all that on the other side. So now the right hand is pushing down into the floor as you inhale and peel open your chest. Big wingspan, left hand up. And exhale, left hand dives under. Okay, see if you could set the left shoulder down close to the right hand. 2 more times, just like that. Big breath in. And big exhale, come on down. 1 more, and we'll hold it, okay? Inhale, bring it up. Exhale, dive it down. Now let's hold right here. That left shoulder is down on the floor by the right hand. And we can stay right here, okay? Feel free to adjust where your knees are. Ideally, you want your hips just about over your knees. Okay? Now we want that long spine, so really point your tailbone away from your head. And if you want more, reach up with the right hand. Think of opening your chest wide to give the ceiling a hug, maybe looking up. Also, please keep the neck long, so we want the shoulders away from your ears. Breathe. Breathe into your rib cage. Maybe deepen this twist. If you take that right hand and drop it behind your back, you can grab your left thigh. Maybe 1 more breath here in this lovely inverted twist. Let's back it out. So we're coming back down with that right hand next to the left shoulder and press it all the way up to one more twist. Big breath in. Then exhale all the hands down. All right, tuck your toes here. Lift your knees, hips up and back. Let's take a downward facing dog, okay? This can be kind of an informal downward facing dog. Doesn't have to be super crisp. So walk out your heels. Notice how your legs feel. Give the shoulders some nice rolling around. And give your head a good shake. Yes. And no. All right, friends. So we're just going to really slowly and gently flow a little bit here just to get the joints warm and awake. And here we go. Inhaling here, move that heart forward, find just a momentary plank. And remember, you can drop your knees if you need to, okay? With your exhale, walk to your hands and fold. Roll it up for your inhale. Lift your nice big heart. Exhale as you drop your hips. Take a little chair posture here. Your knees move inward. Your heart moves up. Inhale back up to standing. And exhale to fold it. Okay, palms are down. Maybe your knees are bent. Come halfway up for your inhale, looking forward. And with your exhale, big fold. Okay, your palms are down here on the floor. Inhaling, step it back to your plank. Remember, your knees can come down for this. And with your exhale, lower yourself all the way down. Inhale for a cobra. So grip the mat. Pull your heart up and forward. Tailbone points down. And exhale, backing up to a down dog. We'll do that again, okay? Same thing we just did over again. Inhale for your plank. Exhale, walk to your hands. Roll it up, inhale, heart up. Exhale into a chair squat. So think of pointing your tailbone at the center of the earth. Inhale back up. Exhale, fold half or all the way down. Now inhale, halfway up. Then exhale, make a big fold, hug your legs. Palms are down. Inhale for your plank. And exhale all the way to the floor. Cobra on your inhale. Peel open your heart upward. And exhale, downward facing dog. We'll do that one more time, okay? Just getting a little warm. Inhaling here, find your plank. Exhale to your hands. Fold. Roll it up on your inhale. Sit down into your chair squat on your exhale. Inhale for that standing, heart lifting. Exhale, folding. Halfway up, inhale. Big fold on your exhale. Your palms are down. Inhale to plank. And exhale all the way down. So I want to stay on the floor here for a little while. So just like we did before, grip the mat strong with your hands. Inhale, pull your heart up and forward. Then exhale, roll it down. And let's take a few more cobras, just like this. So we'll continue to cobra. So you're gripping the mat strong, you're pulling your heart up, and your heart doesn't really have to come that high. Okay, but I do want you to really get a hold of that feeling where your hands are both pushing down and pulling back. Okay, so we would never want to just push the spine up away from the floor, okay, because that could cause compression. We want to lengthen the spine all the way up and set it all the way down. So next time you come up into a cobra posture, hold right there, okay? I call this sustainable cobra. So it's a cobra that you can hold without your hands. And that being said, go ahead and tuck your elbows in towards your rib cage so they're super close to your body, and then float your palms just off the mat. Nice big breath here. So you're using your back body here to lift your heart. It doesn't have to be very high. Go ahead and just look at the ground and keep your neck extra long. And let's just play around with this feeling. So think of really pointing your tailbone down at the center of the earth, a super tucked tailbone. Notice how that gives you a lifting feeling in your belly button. Keep that. Maybe play around with lifting 1 or 2 legs. Feel that strong back body working for you. Nice breath here. Okay, if everything's going well, maybe you reach your hands behind you. And if you're still feeling great, go ahead and join your fingers. So interlacing your fingers, you can lift your hands away from your hips. Okay, keep the glutes strong. Maybe even for this last breath, you fly up a little higher, pointing your tailbone straight down at the ground. And with your exhale, release all of that effort. Come on down. You can just rest your forehead on the ground. I'll take a few breaths here, just letting that back bend glitter kind of soak in. So from here, I want to take us back up to hands and knees. Tuck your toes. Press it back up. Okay. From hands and knees, let's take the right foot forward by the right hand. So I want to get a little bit lungy with you. Okay. So helping to release any tension in the low back. So go ahead and line your right foot up with your hands. And everything's nice and aligned here. And tuck the back toes. Go ahead and lift the back knee off the floor. So the left knee is up. And we'll experiment with moving the hips back and forth here. And if this is too much, you can do this with the back knee down. Okay, it's the same idea. So cultivate a nice little flex in your right foot as you keep moving here. And so notice that that gives you some nice opening in that right calf. It opens up the right hamstring a little more readily. So big flex in the right foot. I want to get the legs a little bit warm. Okay, so coming forward back into that lunge. Let's hold here for just a moment. Okay. If you need to drop the back knee, go ahead and drop that back knee. But if you can, if everything's going great, it feels fine, press up on that right knee. So you're coming all the way up to a lunge. So keep your legs really strong here, pushing down against the floor. Okay. So you're actively pushing that floor down. You can think of resisting the floor just enough that you could try to draw your legs toward each other, okay? As if you're trying to snap them back together. Keep your belly strong, so your belly button is still pulling inward towards your spine. Your tailbone's still trying to point down. And maybe here you want to lift your arms and lift your heart nice and high. So I want you to feel a big spreading open feeling in the front of your body. All the tissue, okay, from your hips up to your armpits is big and open. And the legs are nice and strong. We're going to take 3 more breaths here. So you can always drop the back knee if that's necessary. Two more breaths here. Keep that big heart moving up. All right, one more big breath here in your lunge, just building some great warmth in your legs. All right, bring this down. Drop the back knee if it was up. Drop your left hand in front and keep the right hand up because we're going to move this right foot over to the left, okay? And drop the right knee. Now you can put your right hand back down in front of you. Lean forward and put your hands underneath your shoulders. So we are in a pigeon posture now. In your pigeon posture, stay upright with me just for long enough that we can really align it and get it nice and lined up. So check out your hips. Make sure your two hips are equidistant from the floor, so your hips are leveled off. Sometimes you'll notice the left hip is going to try to come up, okay? Put it level with the right. Also, adjust the placement of your right foot. So if this is really intense, especially in your right hip, it's way too much, just bring your right foot closer to your hips. It'll be more gentle. If you want that intensity, if you want to open up in the right hip a lot more, you can move the right foot out away from you so it's more level with your knee. Okay, so either way, whatever is feeling good, go ahead and bring yourself down to your elbows once you're all aligned. Let your head hang, long neck. Okay, and then once you're here, you're kind of settling into the posture. I want you to resist the floor with your legs just a little bit. Just like when we were up in that lunge, okay, we were pushing down on the floor with our legs. We're doing the same thing here. When we put a little bit of resistance into the floor, it helps us release where we need to. So hopefully you feel that right hip letting go, rolling up into your low back. Maybe you can come all the way down. Remember to keep breathing here. Keep the glutes active. All right, take in maybe one more big breath in here and out. And start to walk yourself back up out of this. Okay, so from here, hands back underneath your shoulders, tuck those back toes. We're gonna bring it up and back to hands and knees. So come on up. Okay, take your feet wide, or your knees wide and your hands wide, and we'll just take some circles here. So you're just circling your circling your torso over your hands and your knees. Let's take it back the other way. Okay, now let's do the other side. So you'll step that left foot next to your left hand. And kind of line the foot up with your hands. Tuck the back toes, the right toes, lift the right knee, and we'll rock the hips forward and back. Okay, feeling out that left hamstring. And if you like, you can cultivate a flex in that left ankle. It'll get you a nice calf stretch. Okay, just building a little bit of warmth and openness in the legs before we go into the pigeon posture on this side. So come back into that lunge and settle in. Use your left leg to press it up. Okay, it doesn't have to be super deep and it doesn't have to be super crazy. You can drop that right knee at any time. Okay. But I want to hold here. So maybe reach your arms up. We're thinking of resisting the floor with these legs. So push down through your legs. Try to snap them together as if you could pull the 2 feet toward each other. And we're just going to breathe. Okay, pulling the belly button in. Lift your big heart. Nice breath here. So feel the legs working. We're getting them warm on purpose. Okay, maybe 2 more big breaths here. Last breath. Okay, bring the back knee down. Bring the right hand down in front. And we can shimmy this left foot to the right and drop the left knee. Okay, hands down in front. As you set up your pigeon, it's really helpful to take a little bit of setup time. Okay, level off your hips with the mat. We want them nice and level. Okay, notice that right hip tries to come up. We want the left foot exactly where it needs to go. So pull it closer to you to make this less intense in your left hip, further away to make it more intense, and start to walk your elbows out and drop your head. So keep the legs active here. Both glutes are working. Gently resisting the floor so that you can release in the hips and the low back. Nice breath here. This is a great time to just check in and notice how you're feeling, how your practice is affecting you. Notice your jaw. Maybe you could hang it open a little bit more. All right, enjoy your last big, beautiful breath in pigeon posture. And then start to walk yourself back up and out of it. Hands back underneath your shoulders. Let's bring it back to hands and knees from here. Again, take your hands a little wide and your knees a little wide, and we'll do some circles, circling out shoulders and hips a little bit. And make sure we go both directions. Okay, so now I want to get into a really great chest opening, heart opening, back extension with you. So bring your knees about hip width. They're right under your hips, okay? And without allowing your hips to move forward from right over your knees, walk your hands forward and just drop your forehead. Okay, so notice when you did that, did your tailbone point straight up at the ceiling? If it did, see if you could point the tailbone a little bit down at your feet, and that's going to give you some really strong protection in your belly that'll keep your low back from just absorbing all of this back bend, okay? And when we do that, we're keeping the low back a bit more neutral. That's going to allow this back extension to roll more into your upper back. So point the tailbone down. And if you have a forehead on the floor and you're feeling real good about that, you feel a lot of opening in your armpits and your chest and your shoulders, hang out right here, okay? This is enough. If it's not enough and you feel not a whole lot of opening, you feel pretty comfortable, you want to move a little more deeply into that chest opening, go ahead and put your chin on the floor and start to think about looking at your hands, okay? And I like to make claw hands here, so really strong, active hands with the fingertips pressing down. So try that. Do your best to keep a long neck in this posture. All right, so from here, if you're still wanting more, you can lift your elbows, and you'll start to think about drawing your throat and your chest toward the floor. So this is kind of a spectrum, and I don't want you to feel like you have to go to the full end of the spectrum. Okay, you can stay where it's comfortable for you. But wherever you are, you're feeling some nice opening in your chest, your armpits. You can still breathe and you're having a good time. So we'll take maybe 3 or 4 more breaths in this Anahatasana, okay, open heart pose. Remember to keep a long neck. And every breath, see if you can release that heart a little closer to the ground. So we'll start to walk ourselves up and out of this. So start walking your hands back in. All right. And then keep going. So bring your knees together, bring your feet together, and keep your hands going until they're all the way back by your feet. Okay, so let's counter that really big, juicy back bend with a nice fold. So grabbing onto your heels, kind of use your heels like handles. So grab onto your heel, like kind of like a doorknob. And then start to round your spine, but I want you to keep a long neck, okay? So allow your spine to round so that your forehead rests on the floor next to your knees. Okay, and if it's okay if it doesn't come all the way down, you might need to widen your knees. Feel free to make little adjustments to make this feel good. But do drop your forehead on that floor. And keep a really strong, very intentional grip on your heels, your heel handles. Okay, so this posture is going to be super different for everyone. So I'm just going to bring you through this spectrum and you find out where you'd like to be. We're going to call this a rabbit posture. Okay, rabbit posture is great opening up the back of your rib cage. You'll feel it right away. So if you're feeling a lot of opening across the back of your rib cage, your shoulders, just be here and just breathe here into the backs of your ribs. Okay, put some strength in your arms. So your arms are definitely active here. You're actively pulling on your heels. And with that, you may find that your forehead comes a little closer to your knees, okay? If your forehead is close to touching your knees, great, okay? You can just hang it right there if you want. But your forehead might come all the way to your knees. That's kind of what you're working toward, but it's okay if it doesn't happen. From there, try this. See if you want to keep pulling on your heels, forehead to knees, and lift your hips a little bit. Nice big stretch for the whole back of the rib cage. Okay, so keep breathing here. I just want to give you a word about putting weight on the top of your head. If you do lift your hips and you have some weight on your head, make sure it's not a whole lot of weight, okay? No more than like 10% of your body weight should be on your head. Let's take a few more breaths into the whole backside of your heart. Keep those shoulders strong and moving away from your ears. Maybe one more breath here in your rabbit posture. And bring your hips back down if they were up. Bring your hands out front here. Just rest your head on the ground in a nice little child's pose for a breath or two. Notice how those two postures back to back, that big back bend and that big flexion of the spine. Notice how you feel. All right, from here, beautiful people, walk your hands back up by your hips. Sit your hips to one side, and we'll transition to your favorite comfy seat. So whatever it is, go ahead and get there. If you want a suggestion, you can try taking one foot in really close to your hips so that your knee points quite out to the side, and the bottom of your foot kind of flips upward. Then you can tuck the other foot in very close in the same way, okay? And should allow you a lot of nice space in your hips. But this is where we'll end our practice. We're just gonna sit up nice and tall, grounding into both of your hip bones equally. Feel the length in your spine. Okay, we want to rock so that the belly button pulls back just a little bit. The tailbone points straight down at the ground. Okay, see if you could lift your low back up and out of your pelvis and center your rib cage perfectly over your hips. Maybe give a slight tuck into your bottom ribs, so a little tiny engagement there. Allow your shoulder blades to slide down your back and together, and feel that when you do that, your heart might lift a centimeter higher. With a little bit of a tuck in your chin, maybe you can see to it that there are no creases anywhere on your neck. And feel that the top of your head is balanced perfectly above your tailbone. And take some time just to breathe here and let the effects of your practice swirl around. Allow your breath to become soft and natural through your nose. Exert only enough effort to be here. And spend some time just being present, listening to the sounds around you. Tuning into the sensations of breathing and being. And allow yourself the luxury of just being present and experiencing this moment. So please keep resting just like this for as long as you can. At least 5 minutes would be ideal, but more is better. Thanks so much for practicing with me, for taking good care of yourself.